Good morning, everyone. What's going on? Welcome to the ValleySportsPod live stream, week 14, Sunday. And this is one of the first weeks in my 15-year career of doing this fantasy football stuff where I pretty much have nothing on the line except for my one DraftKings league. So you come in, join the chat. You need to win this week. You need to move against someone. Let me know. Ask any questions. Just make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all that jazz. And we are here for the day. We're going to be ranting about the NFL. We're going to be ranting about anything. And my good friend Zach from Jive will be joining us at about noonish. But for right now, we can all celebrate that there is no Giants football today. Thank the Lord. We don't have to sit through the Giants. The horrible defense they have and all that jazz. We don't have to worry about Jackson Dart jumping into other players and stuff like that. So no Giants football to anger me today, thankfully. And there's nothing better. I'm happy as a clam. I don't have to worry about fantasy football mostly, and I don't have to worry about Giants football. The only thing I got to worry about in fantasy is people getting hurt. So I'm hoping out of all four of my teams, somehow someone doesn't get hurt. So don't know what to say. And that's our Giants talk for the day, unless Zach wants to come on and rant about the Giants. And what you're all thinking is, George, why are you wearing a Steelers jersey of all things? Now, today I'm rooting for the Steelers because I took them for my pepper picks. Steelers +6, and I'm hoping they cover. I'm in a rut, down 15-13. And for those of you who don't know, the pepper picks are a contract me and my co-host Timmy signed. The loser has to eat the Carolina Reaper, and we are 5 weeks away from that. So the Steelers are one of my picks for today. I picked the Steelers, and I picked the Chargers tomorrow night. And my co-host picked the Jets. This guy makes fun of the Jets all the time, yet he picks them for pepper picks. And the second team he picked, the Broncos. He picked the Broncos -8.5. So those are the two teams I got to root against. I got to root, even though the Broncos, I'm all over. I think they'll win the AFC if they get the 1 seed. I just really hope they don't cover today. They're 8.5. And the Jets, I don't even know. I usually root against the Jets just to make Timmy mad. But let's jump right in. The Cowboys defense got absolutely shredded on Thursday night. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. That was embarrassing. I'm sorry. It was stereotypical Cowboys. We them boys were back, all that jazz, and just laid a shitter. Just laid a shitter. That's all he did. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to fix this camera a little. It's a little too high right now. And if you're just joining me, drop your fantasy questions in the comments. I'll answer them. We got Zach from Jive Sports joining me at noon today. Let me just fix this camera really quick. It's a little too high. There you go. Oh, what's up, buddy? Oh, you need a new link? All right, yeah, I'll send that to you right now. 1 second. Same email, right? 1 second. I'll get back to making fun of the Cowboys when I send this link out to my buddy Zach. All right, link has been sent. I feel like I'm too close to my mic. I don't like this. Hold on. I think now we're cooking, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are cooking. Yep. Yeah, now we're cooking. But the Cowboys got absolutely shredded last night. It was pretty hilarious. Or the other night, it was pretty hilarious. 44-30. Just when all the Cowboys fans were in my DMs making fun of me, saying, "Oh, we haven't had this good of a defense in all these years. Our offense is top 3." And guess what? The Lions just, boom, went right through you. like water through a screen door on a submarine. It was absolutely amazing to witness. And as I said, I rooted for you guys on Thanksgiving because I knew it. And you guys, Christmas came early for George this year. The Cowboys didn't even have to make the playoffs to choke. They completely choked on national TV and just gave it all in. Want me to wait till 12? Yeah, just give me like 20 minutes. But yeah, like I said, Christmas came early for George this year, and the Cowboys choked before it was even the playoffs. Dak Prescott just looked non-existent, and George Pickens just quit on his own team and got shit on by Richard Sherman. It was pretty disgusting. So Pickens, you better save your fantasy points for next week, okay? Because I need you in a couple of leagues. Hi, Olivia. Welcome home. But I said it before, and I'll say it again. Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football, and there's no question about it. There is no flaw in his game. He is so unbelievably good. He's so unbelievably fast. It's actually like crazy to watch. This guy makes fast people look not so fast. And if you know what that's from, you're a G. But once again, if you're joining me, drop your fantasy football questions in the comments below. Answer them all day. Last week until the playoffs, the best time of the year. Win or go home for most teams in fantasy. All four of my teams are already in. All four of my teams are chilling this week. So we're having fun today. We're just going to – and no Giants football. This is like the perfect George week. I don't have to complain about fantasy, and I don't have to complain about Giants football. It's the best of both worlds. It's like all my Christmases at once. But once again, Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football. He's the best fantasy football player. I don't care if Christian McCaffrey has to get 15 catches for 30 yards just to be relevant. Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football. End of story. I don't care about McCaffrey getting 15 targets a game. I don't care about his receiving totals. His rushing stats are subpar at best. I'm not saying McCaffrey's not a good running back, but he is nowhere near the top 5, and I don't care. Just because you have a bunch of fantasy points doesn't prove anything. Austin Eckler led the league in fantasy points a couple years ago, and everyone knew he wasn't top 5. Christian McCaffrey is not a top 5 running back this year. Now, granted, Christian McCaffrey is one of the greatest running backs ever, but just because he was great all those years, like 2023, he was the best running back. 2019, he was the best running back, and he dominated in fantasy those years. This year, he's been inefficient running the ball. Inefficient. He's averaging 3.6 yards per carry. That's 150th. That's not good. That's below league average, and he's barely 10th in rushing, barely, with all these touches. He has more touches than Jonathan Taylor. He's on pace for like 380, which is what Saquon had last year going into the playoffs. So I don't care what you say. Just because you catch a bunch of dump offs and all these receiving stats and these fantasy points doesn't make you the best running back in football. All right? Like, you give me Jahmyr Gibbs getting 15 targets a game, this guy would be breaking records this year. Okay? End of story. I don't want to hear it from McCaffrey fans and all that nonsense. Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football. And I think McCaffrey's lost his home run ball ability. And what I mean by that is his longest rush this year is 20 yards. So, granted, without his long plays, he's still relevant in fantasy because he's getting you all these points. But I'm just talking aspect as in just best player. Okay? Granted, I'll say he's been the best first or second best running back in fantasy because he just averages 25. Like, Gibbs has had some duds. Gibbs had like 2 games that I lost because of it because he had 11 and 7. McCaffrey has a net under 19, I think. So, okay, if you want to tell me he's the best fantasy football player running back, sure. But again, he doesn't have the home run ball ability anymore. He like, at least in 2023, you knew any moment he can take that ball 60 yards to the house. And this year, he doesn't have that. I don't know whether it's O-line play, he's slowing down, injuries are catching up to him. He still looks great, but he's just not a top 5 running back this year. That's just what it is. And what was nice to see was St. Brown returned somehow. I thought it was done. I was complaining. I was throwing my turkey legs everywhere. I was going crazy. I thought I lost 3 leagues. I have St. Brown in 3 leagues. All of them, I'm going to have a bye week. I'm like, oh, thanks. I wasted this entire year just to lose in the second round. But somehow he returned, and it looked like nothing happened to him. This guy must have injected himself with some adamantium. And for those of you who don't know, that's what Wolverine's got in his bones. He just went crazy. And somehow, some way, got 15 points last week, and that is an amazing sign for those of you who have him and have a first round bye. If you're just joining me, I'm ranting about football. Drop your fantasy football questions in the comment. Make sure you like, subscribe at ValleySportsPod. But for those of you who have St. Brown, most of you probably have a first round bye because he's been money all year. If you took him in the first round, he's been a great asset. As long as you're not an idiot and mostly drafted a decent team, you have a first round bye with St. Brown. So that was a nice sight to see that he returned on Thursday with pretty much no hiccups. I think the first target went right to St. Brown. So that was good to see. And now with CeeDee Lamb out, Pickens looks like a league winner. And if CeeDee Lamb misses time, especially because that concussion didn't look good, he slammed headfirst onto the turf about 15 feet in the air or whatever it was. And he might miss the first round of the playoffs. And you know what happened when CeeDee Lamb got hurt the first time? Pickens was averaging like 28 a game. So granted, Pickens didn't take advantage of a shit secondary like the Lions, but I think he'll be fine. It was just a weird game. Again, Thursday night on the road is always weird. I think he picked the worst time ever to go quiet, especially in a must-win, but can't really fault him for that. I don't know. I think people are overreacting a little too much. That was a really tough game. Their defense got absolutely shredded. I don't really know what George Pickens really would have done different there. Their defense gave up 44 points. Gibbs was just running all over them. Montgomery was running all over them. Goff was just play actioning easily. I don't even know what's the word. But even though they got shredded, Cowboys defense is a sneaky pickup for the fantasy playoffs, and I do love it because they play 9 week 1. And I have them ready. I have them on the ready. The Cowboys defense play 9 first week of the playoffs. They're only available in 10% of leagues, so please go take them if you want some easy points because we all know that 9 can't throw a football. He stinks. So go pick up the Cowboys defense in fantasy for the first week of the playoffs. Guarantee you some points. Like I said, the Vikings offense looks volatile. 9 is just horrible. Even if Mac Brosmer comes in, then there you go, another free points. And you always got to set yourself up for easy points from your defense. Like I picked up my defenses like 5 weeks in advance, knowing who they're playing in the playoffs. And that's something you always got to pay attention in fantasy. Always check who your players are playing in the playoffs, especially if you're really close to clinching, because it's very important who they play. Like for those of you who have Trey McBride gets the Bengals championship week. Now, we all know about those Bengals. The Bengals are so bad at defense against tight ends. The tight ends that play against them would be the wide receiver 6 in points per game. That's how many points they give up per game to tight ends in fantasy. So if those of you who got Trey McBride, or if you're facing Trey McBride championship week, good luck to you. That's all I have to say. Because my goodness, if Jacoby Brissett's still in, slinging that rock, that game is going to be like 45-55, and McBride's going to have 42 points minimum against that defense. That defense gave up 30 to Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth, and Jonnu Smith. I mean, those aren't awful tight ends, but all 3 of them got 25 or more. So what does that tell you? And speaking of Freiermuth and all those guys, the Steelers and the Ravens played today, and it seems like for the first time, both teams want the other team to win because both teams hate their coach. It's actually hilarious to watch. I've never seen a rivalry where the one game at the end of the year is going to pretty much decide who wins the division, and both teams want the opposition team to win because of how much they hate each other's coaches. Steelers fans were booing Mike Tomlin out of the building last week, and Ravens fans want John Harbaugh's head because of how he uses Derrick Henry. And now I got Ravens fans DMing me saying, oh, Harbaugh is going for the script because he doesn't want Lamar to get a ring. Insanity. I'm telling you right now, listen, I think they both should part ways, but to call them bad coaches is insanity. I think they just need to change the scenery. If they get rid of Tomlin and Harbaugh, they'll be hired in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Any team will take them. I don't care. Because most teams want stability. While the Ravens and Steelers are known franchises, and if you're just joining us, drop your fantasy football questions. I'm just ranting about the Steelers and the Ravens right now. Most franchises love stability. So any team will take those guys. The Giants will take Harbaugh or Tomlin in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. The bums that we've had to deal with the last 10 years. The last decent coach we've had was Tom Coughlin, and that was 2015, 10 years ago. What else could you want in a coach? These guys have been around for so long, and they're all about structure and winning when things go wrong. They always got next man up, stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't easy this year for the Ravens because their team was built around Lamar Jackson. But at the end of the day, a lot of teams will take Harbaugh and Tomlin. It's just, I think they run their course where they are right now. And sometimes you just need to change of scenery just to get things going again. Like, look at the Saints with Sean Payton. It was time. He was there for a long time. He had his one Super Bowl. He had multiple opportunities to get back there, whether it was unlucky playoff chokes or unlucky flags that weren't called, a la the NFC Championship in 2018, or just blatant bad play. It was time to move on. And look at him now. Took a few years off, came to the Broncos, completely flipped that team upside down, and now they are the best team in the AFC. It just goes to show you that a great coach really just changes the culture. Just like that. All you need is a great coach, and everything changes. Look at the Rams. Those of you who are too young to remember, the 2016 Rams were coached by the most mid coach in NFL history, and his name is Jeff Fisher. The guy never did anything in his entire life in the NFL except for make the Super Bowl that one time and lose by 1 yard. Other than that, he would go 7-9 every year and get re-signed, which made no sense. He was he had a job in the NFL from like the mid 90s to 2016, just going 7-9 every year, pretty much. And every now and then he'd make the playoffs and then just get bounced. This guy was the most mid coach of all time. And finally that year, 2016, when they had Jared Goff as a rookie, had said, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have Mr. 7-9 be our coach anymore. We need a new, fresh, young face who just came from a great offense, which he was in charge of, to run our team and change the culture. And lo and behold, here comes this stud 30-year-old offensive coordinator from Washington named Sean McVay, walks into LA and completely flips that team upside down. You would think the 2017 Rams added like 10 different players. No, it was pretty much the same team. It's just the change in coaching is what did it. Granted, they added Robert Woods, but they already had all the pieces. Then 2018, they added Brandon Cooks, and Gurley was firing on all cylinders. Aaron Donald was just being Aaron Donald. Then they added Marcus Peters. They were just a team, man. That was just it. And it was all because of a coaching change. That's all it took. Sometimes it's all it is. Giants could be one culture change away from actually getting things going because they have the quarterback. A lot of people are drawing comparisons to the Patriots of last year where all they need is the right coach and everything will fall into place. Please just make the right decision. I do not trust John Mara because he's an idiot, but I'm just hoping they figure it out and do their thing. The Colts are on a skid right now, and today is a huge game. They haven't won in Jacksonville in, I believe, 10 years. In Jacksonville in over 10 years. And that's pretty concerning for Colts fans to hear. They don't look good, and it's not Daniel Jones' fault. It's just a freak injury. And I'm usually one to rip on Daniel Jones, and for once, it's not his fault. And he just got a freak injury. He's got a fibia fracture, and that's really tough to play on. They got no other options. They're not going to want to throw in Anthony Richardson. Who's going to want to do that? And it's just a tough situation to be a Colts fan because they were, 7-1? And now they're on the verge of losing the division. Who would have thought the AFC South would be this stacked? I was an anti-Colts guy because I didn't think they were any good. Because, again, I didn't think Daniel Jones would be that great. But I love the Texans going into this year only because of their defense. And I was somewhat proven right because they started off so shit, and I gave up on them. But their defense is so elite that it actually, flip things on its side and actually turn them into a decent team. And now they're not a team I would want to face in the playoffs. Like the Texans are kind of scary if you think about it. Like if CJ Stroud gets protected enough for a full playoff game, I can't see them losing. Their defense is just so good. It's just, we have 3 defenses this year, and one of them is being wasted. I already mentioned them last week. The Browns defense is being wasted. This is a Super Bowl champion defense. Hold on. If the Browns had a decent offense, that team would be a Super Bowl contender. No, they're not. All right. Zach, if you're ready to jump on and defend them, let me know because I love the Texans defense. Well, you can come on a little early right now, but we got 3 defenses that I'm saying are like amazing and just insane. Also, Myles Garrett said the other night that he had a dream he sacked Cam Ward 4 times. Well, Cam Ward, we'll see you in Valhalla, brother, because that man is going to get to you, and he's going to get to you, and it's going to be a long day for the Titans. That's all I'm going to say, because Myles Garrett is hungry. Myles Garrett is ready, and he's going to be feasting like Bruce in Jaws 1. Whenever you're ready, Zach. But speaking of the Browns, the Tank Bowls today, the Browns and the Titans, the 2 worst teams in the league, will be facing off. And it's Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward. And we all know Shedeur Sanders fans are rooting for a Cam Ward stinker just to I don't know, get proven right. What is Cam Ward doing bad on a bad team going to prove? We all can see sometimes it's the eye test, and just because their stats aren't good doesn't mean you know what you have. Like, just watch the player, watch what he does in a bad situation, and that's how you can tell if a player is good or not. And Cam Ward's been making some plays if you've actually watched his games with what he has. Who's his wide receiver 1? Cameron DK. I mean, he's okay, but he ain't no George Pickens or JSN. Like, what is he working with here? They got the first pick next year. I can very well see them trading down to like 5 and taking a receiver because that's what they need. They need a receiver really bad. Like, it's clear the Calvin Ridley experiment did not work. He stinks. He can't stay healthy. He's old. And talk about, honestly, another bust the Falcons got. Calvin Ridley is another bust because his career is very meh because of how great he was at Alabama. And it's just hilarious how I was bought in on this hype that, Cam Ward's going to use Calvin Ridley as a safety blanket and all this bullshit. And every league, I took George Pickens in the 5th round, except for one league. And I mean, that league is still a great team, but I just keep thinking every single day, my God, if I had George Pickens on this team instead of Calvin Ridley, I'd probably have like 12 wins right now. And I have 8 wins, and I'm going to have to be playing in the 1st round. And I mean, I love that team a lot. It's very, very stacked. I pretty much had the same formula for most of my teams, and it's actually what's keeping it going. I drafted pretty much on average the same 4 players that are all carrying me. Trey McBride, JSN, Quinshon Judkins, and George Pickens. And Drake May. I have Drake May in a lot of leagues too. And now those are the 5 core players that are on at least all of my teams that have really helped me out this year. So if you're joining me, make sure next year we're going to be here, ValleySportsPod, fantasy football. Just listen to my advice. Think a guy doing this stuff for 15 years would know what he's doing, huh? Way too long. I've been doing this so long, my first pick has been in the Hall of Fame for 10 years. 10 years. Actually crazy. Just come on now, Zach. I'm ready for you, buddy. And for those of you joining me, drop your fantasy football questions in the comments below. All right, let me see how this one looks.
What up?
What's up, dude? I like this one better because then your face is covered by our logo. What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Why do you sound like you're in a in a toolbox?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Try unplugging your mic. It sounds like you're like talking from a toolbox. Is that an authentic Rey Mysterio mask?
Maybe.
How much did that cost?
This was only like I think like $25.
Really? That thing looks legit. That was only
Do I sound better now or
$25.
no?
It sounds a little better, but I guess in post-production I could just change your voice and make it sound good, but for now it sounds a little meh.
Let me make sure that it's using oh, that's why. I think it's using the headset. How about now?
Hold on. Talk again.
I think it was using my headset microphone. And
yes. There you go. Yeah, I was gonna say you sounded like you were talking from your backyard.
What about the Jim Cornette face tee?
Yeah, see, even Olivia said much better. Olivia doesn't know who Jim Cornette is. She doesn't know. She doesn't want to learn it. So the other night, sorry to jump off of football for now. I was watching some old Raw from 1999, and she did not want to sit down and watch with me. It was very, very rude.
Boo.
Yeah.
So
I was watching Jericho's debut.
I bought one of these by myself, and then for Christmas, like a year or two ago, Ashley asked me, "What do you want?" And I was like, "What I would really like is to have a Jim Cornette face tee for every day of the week." So she ordered me 4, and I have 5 of them now.
Look, say excuse me.
So let's go back to
just,
fantasy or whatever you're talking about.
Yes. So I was just saying that I've been doing this fantasy stuff so long that my first pick is in the Hall of Fame for over almost 10 years, and I don't know, man. I was just doing a little glazing of myself about my 5 guys that I had across all my leagues that are all popping off.
That's I do it a little bit too. You know, it's because when you're right so often, you kind of want other people to know. But I am kind of used to George glazing himself, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the fantasy thing, I've been running my own league for going on 13 years. I've been playing.
Olivia, I'm just joking. It's okay.
Past her bedtime. My girlfriend's the same way too, Olivia. She's like at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, she's out. Like the second her eyes close, I always joke, her eyes close and it's instant, like right away. I don't know anybody who can fall asleep faster and easier. It's insane because I tossed and turned for like 2 hours. But yeah, fantasy football I've been playing for like 15, 16 years, running my own league for about 13.
So that's
love it.
So you started what, like 2008? Ish.
Probably closer to like 2010. I think we had started like a couple leagues, but weren't playing for money until like 2010, 2011.
So do you remember? I remember who was the RB1, like the RB1 overall the year for your first league. I remember who mine was.
It came out of nowhere as Alfred Morris. I don't know if he was number 1, but that was like my first big like sleeper pick, Alfred Morris from Washington.
Oh, he wasn't until like 2012.
Well, that's the first time I played for money, I think. So if you go back to 2012, I think that was like the first year of my league.
I think 2012, the RB1 was Adrian Peterson. Yes, I'm a nerd.
But no, Alfred Morris was like 1,400 yards, and he was like a undrafted player.
Yep. And my RB1, my first year was Arian Foster. That was the RB1.
Dude,
what that guy. Now that guy, he's a lost commodity because of he was such a good in between the tackles runner, and he was such a good receiver too. He was injuries really ruined his career. Yeah, he was on pace to be like the next LaDainian Tomlinson, and injuries killed him. Like, he was such a good receiver, man. Like, when he caught that ball out of the backfield, he was untouchable. He was so good for those like 4 or 5 years. And he was a fantasy machine.
And if you listen to him now, that whole experience with the Texans has soured him on football altogether. He says, you know, like if he has sons, he won't allow them to play football because of like what he went through. And, you know, because he's a pretty, I don't want to hitch my whatever to his wagon because I don't know everything that he says. He can be a little bit conspiratorial or whatever, but
yeah,
he seems like a pretty reasonable and intelligent guy. So he's all about, you know, player safety and just like the long-term effects, and he don't want his kids playing.
He's also big on the conspiracy. He thinks that there's a
Yeah.
big script. You know who else is big on that? Now, this is a throwback name that most people probably watching this won't know. Remember Larry Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
huge.
Like, if you follow him on TikTok, go watch one of his TikToks. This guy is on that app every day preaching about how big the NFL scripts. And it's to a point where it's like, he does it so much where it's like, I don't think it's like a meme at this point.
There's another guy. I just heard this interview. I don't know who it was, but there's a receiver. I want to say that was either for the Bucks or Raiders from that Super Bowl, and he went on some radio show, I think in Florida, and they were asking him, how do you feel about whatever? I think it was like the year Tom Brady won. They were asking him, who do you think is going to win this game? And he goes, they already determined at the beginning of the year Tom Brady's going to win, and he was very stern and like firm on that stance that this is fucking rigged. We knew we were going to win in Tampa Bay, so it must have been a Tampa Bay receiver. I can't remember who it was though, but
there was, remember Tim Brown, right?
Yeah,
he said that Raiders Bucks Super Bowl, they had the game plan ready for the Bucks because they all had Gruden as coach. They knew his shit, and they said that they switched their game plan days before the Super Bowl, and that doesn't happen. And I'm like, listening to that type of stuff is like, it's very weird. Because even though it was a little before my time, I was only 2002. I was 5 years old. But again, anyone who complains about I wasn't there, I was too young to watch it, it's very easy to just go back and watch. And the Bucks defense was a little slippery to the pass, and all of a sudden this elite pass offense comes in, and they don't want to pass.
Yeah,
weird change.
Yep. Yeah, I remember hearing all that stuff. They went from like wanting a certain game plan, switched it the night before, and then that offensive lineman for the Raiders, he went crazy and disappeared. So very weird stuff like that. But sometimes I don't know. For me, the conspiratorial stuff is it when you start looking for things to be wrong or things to be weird, then you start connecting dots
down that rabbit hole.
Be there. And sometimes I think coaches can big brain things. They overthink things. They think we're going to do this, so we're going to
like
zig.
The Marshawn Lynch thing.
Zag. Yeah,
like the Marshawn Lynch thing. Yeah, I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest. I think I'm smarter than I really am incident in history.
Well, that's one of those interesting situations, because I think you probably heard too that a lot of those players think that Pete Carroll, kind of like the John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson situation, that they think that Pete Carroll wanted Russell Wilson to be the MVP, so they wanted him to throw the ball. So it wasn't necessarily about
that's insane because they didn't want to pay Marshawn Lynch, but it's just like
better stats.
Yeah, but it's just like, who gives a shit? It's a stupid award. You want the Super Bowl. Who cares who wins the MVP at the end of the day, really?
I don't know if you're familiar with is it Mike Valenti? You know who that is? I think he's worked with Boomer. But
I might have to see his. I'm a big face guy. Like I'll never forget a face. I'm very bad with names.
He was a sports radio host in Detroit, but he's a Giants fan. He's done stuff with Boomer, like I said. But it was really funny when Matt Patricia was the Lions head coach. He was like bashing the Lions like all the time. And Matt Patricia had the line, defending why the Lions kept losing. He goes, well, I'm the one that called the play that won the Super Bowl, and he's like, no, you didn't. Malcolm Butler knew the route combinations and jumped the route. You weren't on the field. You don't have lateral quickness.
George, you sound winded. Yeah, I'm a little tired. I went to bed late last night. I've been working on my video for the coming out this week, our new top 5 series.
Yeah, George is the quality gets better and better every week, while mine's just kind of like staying the same.
Listen, if you need any tips, I'm always happy to help.
I'm just lazy.
Yeah. Listen, I'm slowly becoming the premier pro wizard. I'm slowly becoming
lazy. My girlfriend looked at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah. I'm slowly becoming the premier pro wizard.
So, questions about fantasy football, or you want to go kind of like down the list of games this week and win loss?
Yeah, why not?
You guys already did that for your weekly episode, but
we didn't really go win loss, but we kind of just like talked about the big points. But if you want to just bring up the games, I was slowly going through the stuff. I talked about the Cowboys already and made fun of their defense, as you saw.
oh yeah, that's when I asked you if I can come on because look, living in Michigan, I hear a lot of Lions fans for years talking about how they always get screwed by the refs, but I thought that Thanksgiving game with the Packers and then that Cowboys game, they were getting fucked
Thank you, Ryan.
by the refs or effed. I don't want to. I'll try to cut the cussing back, but they were getting screwed.
So I'm happy you bring up that Thanksgiving game, and I completely agree. That was a very weird fishing game. That was another textbook. Dan Campbell screwed himself out of a win, and you're frozen, Zach.
How about now?
You're good. I said that was the most textbook. Dan Campbell lost us the game in history. He had no reason. He had no reason to go for it on that 4th and 3 down 10 with 9 minutes left. There was no reason to go for that. Just kick the field goal, make it a 7-point game.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me personally, and I've been one of the biggest Dan Campbell criticizers, or I'm not a believer in him fully yet, because in those critical moments he seems to get him more wrong than right. But there's a couple plays in there. I talked about it the other day with Keith from 411. 2 4th down situations where they got the false start penalty, where there's confusion whether it's a timeout or called or not. A lot of people don't think that Matt LaFleur called the timeout, but that saved them from being 4th and 7 to 4th and 2, and the next play they score. But the first touchdown of that game, which has been kind of I've been critical of, is that it was Wicks.
Dontavius.
He caught that first touchdown catch, make it 10-3 or whatever, and it was like, I've never seen a receiver earn possession that quickly.
Oh yeah. That was they really. I never. Yeah, they didn't even review it for a second, and it was like not conclusive.
For me, the ball touches his hands, and within a 1/10 of a second, his right foot is down while that's there. But I feel like you have to like do something. You have to bring it into your chest or whatever. Like the ball was still like not even fully in his hands, I feel. And then the left foot comes down when the right foot comes up, and they say that's 2 feet. I was like, that's crazy. But then the other one that was 12 man on the field was also 4th and goal from like the 3, and the next play was a touchdown. But the way that they described the 12 man penalty was 12 man on the field with snap imminent. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, how do they know the snap is imminent? Do they know the Green Bay Packers snap count? There's time for a timeout. There's time for them to get a delay game. There's time for them to run up the field still. How can they call how is 12 man on the field a pre-snap penalty? I've never heard that.
You know what's another thing that really was so crazy to me? Matt LaFleur actually grew a pair of balls and went for it on 4th and 3. Like 2020, Matt LaFleur would have punted that shit, and they would have went down the field and won the game. But he went for it on 4th and 3, up 3, close to midfield, and they fucking got it. If he actually does that going in the playoffs, the Packers are going to be a dangerous team. They need to be less conservative, and they'll win more games, I think.
2 of their touchdowns came on 4th down. So, I mean, he wasn't playing around. But and then obviously you go to that Dallas Cowboys game, and the first big thing that happened is that safety. What do you think about that? Do you think that was a safety or what? I thought it was.
Are you talking about
it was
Thursday?
Yeah, Cowboys.
That was a safety. That should have been a safety. That was terrible.
Yeah.
What did your boys from 411 say about that? I got to talk to these guys because my pet peeve. It's like under the radar. I love not even arguing with. I love talking with other fans who live actually in the state of the team they root for, like from across the country. Like I don't know if you talk to Sim Bros that much, but they live in LA and they're Chargers fans, and I just little stuff like that. I love if you're in your home city and you root for that team, and it's like because I'm so used to arguing with Giants fans who live in New York or Jet fans. I don't know. It's just a little stupid thing that I like. I don't know because I feel like have you like I went to New Orleans and it was a cool experience because the entire state rooted for the Saints. And it's like coming from New York where we're all split down the middle. I just think that shit's so cool. Like you're one of the few outliers in Detroit, but like most of Detroit, Michigan are Lions fans from what I've seen.
Well, you'd be surprised. There's a lot like I said, my girlfriend's dad's a Bears fan. I have a lot of
Okay, yeah, you're close.
Packer
You're very
fans.
close to Illinois, so I could see that. Yeah,
My uncle's a Vikings fan. I have, like I said, a lot of friends that are Packers fans. I mean, the overwhelming majority are going to be Lions fans, but it's kind of
yeah,
split in Michigan because a lot of people are scarred from years and years of
yeah.
terrible Lions. But the
Like,
411, they're really, really. I keep using the word level-headed. They don't make excuses. Like when it comes to the things that I'm bringing up now about the bad officiating, they're so used to it that they just don't even they're not bothered by it as much anymore. They just keep saying, we have to find ways to win and not let the refs basically decide the game. So they feel like
is
they have to
Hampton
score
playing
more, play
Monday?
better than they
Sorry,
normally do.
is Hampton playing Monday, or should I start BTJ instead of taking the chance since he might not play? BTJ, that guy is just. And I'm by now you probably know this, that I'm an LSU fan, even though we're like still LIU for life. But I've grown up an LSU fan. But my God, talk about fool's gold. But I don't know, I can't trust BTJ ever. Like, especially now today. Do you have Vidal? But then again, Vidal's on his every other game. Have you seen that? Kamani Vidal has scored 20 and like under 5 every other game since he's became the starter.
I haven't paid much attention to him other than when I played against him. I think I have him on one team, but I had him benched.
He was our second round pick in Dynasty last year.
I'm just I agreed with your buddy Kyle. I think when you had Kyle on like the first time and he was talking about his fantasy app, because I think he said what I've been saying a lot too. And that's with BTJ last year. I felt like they were force feeding him the ball because Gabe Davis was injured. Evan Ingram was out for several weeks with a hamstring. When he came back, he wasn't fully healthy. And then Doug Pearson was playing for his coaching for his job, and they were just force feeding BTJ the ball because he was the only weapon they had. So I felt like a lot of his stats last year were inflated. Where now, you've seen a lot this year. He's very skittish. He's afraid to go over the middle. He's afraid to catch anything that's going to be contested. So they got to find ways to scheme him out where he's got to get more screens or more little like slant routes or something. But he can't go over the middle.
Well, the adding of Jacoby Myers hurts him a lot too because now they got another safety blanket. But I would start Hampton. He finally practiced without the non-contact practice jersey, and he should be back Monday. They all expect him to play, and by the grace of God, if he somehow doesn't play, I doubt it. This is a huge game. 2 8-4 teams on Monday Night Football. The Chargers are going to want to have their best running back there. So just fire up Hampton, and you win by Hampton or you lose by Hampton. He's most people's third or second round pick this year.
Yeah, I was so high on Amari Hampton, especially before like Najee Harris got signed there. I was like, this kid's gonna be like top 3 in the league.
Man. I mean, we all know what John Harbaugh is. He's very good at picking and choosing players.
Absolutely.
And he personally picked him in the first round, so you knew he saw something in that guy.
And Michigan football, Stanford football, 49er football, then brilliant run scheme. He always his running backs always produce. That's why you can have a Kamani Vidal have good games. You can have who was the other guy that was getting the ball? I can't remember.
Hassan Haskins.
Well, he had a game, but I thought there was somebody else that was kind of out of nowhere.
Are you talking Chargers or Niners?
Everywhere.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Shanahan's offense. If these no-name guys can go for 150 any given time.
Me and Timmy got into an argument in our group chat last night. Shocker. This kid, I hope he's watching right now. I doubt it because it's too early for him to be up. I'm sorry, I'm kidding, Timmy. He has the audacity to say that. So last night I was joking. I'm like, you guys watched Indiana, Ohio State. This might be your next quarterback, Jet fans. and he's like, "Oh, why don't we give Trey Lance a try?" And I send him the meme of like the Muppets where he's holding the guy's shoulder. He's like, I go, if Shanahan couldn't fix him, no one can fix him, brother. It's over. And he starts defending Trey Lance. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
I'm like, dude, it's over. Just give it a rest. He goes, he only had 2 starts, and then his leg went backwards. And I'm like, Timmy, it's over. Just give it a rest. I go, if you're a quarterback and you can't succeed under, it's like there's like a set amount of coaches, and it's probably like McVay, Shanahan, and I don't know, I guess O'Connell, 3, or in Steichen, 4, like, and I'm a couple others are slipping my mind. And if you can't succeed in their scheme, then you're just not built for the NFL. You're just not good enough, unless you're a freak like Lamar Jackson or like one of those.
I'm out on O'Connell. I used to feel that way, but I'm not. I don't feel that way anymore.
But, why do you say that?
Yeah.
Did you? Sorry to ask. Don't answer that question. Answer this question. Did you hear that that people are saying for them to get Kyler Murray?
No, I haven't heard that.
That people want them to trade for Kyler Murray because they're already giving up on 9. I mean, 9 is just 9 has become the biggest meme I've seen in years. It's actually, dude, there was a Brazilian soccer team posting a 9 meme. Like, straight out of Brazil, they posted a picture of one of their players in the locker room with the 9 face, and they put the jersey on him and like making fun of the other team. Like, I can't believe how much of a meme this guy's become in the sports world.
I've said it before. Like, look, I can be a little judgmental. I get it, but I feel like ever since I saw him do this meditation shit, I feel like he's just phony baloney, and he wants to be a persona. He wants to be like a brand. You know, some players they want to be bigger than the sport that they play. They want to branch out and have like their own little projects and like have that branding of themselves. And I feel like he's more concerned about that than he is about playing the game that he's, made him famous.
He's a generational game manager. That's all it was.
And he just, he's not very good. Things can change. It is 1 year, but I'm not very confident in that. I wouldn't bet on it. So
there's a new Keon Coleman meme. If you saw, is that the one where they're like, he wears number 0 for his 0 catches or something like that? I'm pretty sure I read it on Twitter, but like really fast. So I can't really remember it right now, but, let's stop NFL did you watch the game last night in Indiana, Ohio State?
Of course I did.
That was a great game and a great defensive battle. And Mendoza settled in nice, and he looked solid against the best defense in the nation and the closest test you're going to get to NFL talent.
Because I'm a Michigan fan, Big Ten is very near and dear to me. I love watching Big Ten football. So watching Ohio State lose is
the
always
new powerhouse
a good feeling.
of the nation.
I'm not sold on Mendoza as a top prospect, even though he probably will be. He probably will win Heisman and everything.
Him on the Raiders
I haven't really been impressed by him, honestly. And then after that post-game interview was the ickiest thing I ever saw in my life.
I said last night he might have a touch of the tism, and I got yelled at. So.
Something's weird about him.
Listen, if you could put that ball into the hands of your receivers, it doesn't matter what you got. That's all it is.
Yeah, but I'm not sold on him as being. I feel like talk about JJ McCarthy. I'm not gonna say he's JJ McCarthy, but I'm just like there hasn't been any like big plays where I'm like, oh wow, he's the only guy that can do that.
No, it was Cam Newton's talking about him and saying he's playing like a bum and is known for liking cookies. So all of his videos has pictures of cookies.
Well, that's why
when I come up, you got to show me this. Dude, he couldn't separate at Florida State, and the Bills were like, yep, that's our guy. Let's take him in the first round. Love him. Let's take the guy who can't separate in college to be our number 1 receiver for Josh Allen.
He's being weighed down by all that sugar.
Yeah.
But
they also, I mean, Worthy hasn't been amazing, but I feel like Worthy would have been great for Allen. I don't know why they didn't just take him. They traded down and passed on him.
Yeah, I mean, Worthy, I don't think he was ever going to be drafted to be like a number 1 receiver, but he's a guy that the defense has to account for because of his speed. He just opens everything up. He opens the entire field up.
But I gotta say, now this is I don't think this is a hot take because while he is super fast without pads, he looks slow on the field. And if you know what I mean by that, like he doesn't have the 4.21 speed that everyone says he has while on the field. Like when you watch a guy like Tyreek Hill, that speed. When I watch Jahmyr Gibbs, that speed. But when I watch Worthy, he doesn't exuberate speed. He's just very fast, but he's not top 0.1% fast. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's a little bit slower in pads than he is without pads. Maybe just because football speed is a lot different than track speed.
Well, it's obvious when you have all that, like it limits your mobility. But the thing with Jahmyr Gibbs that I keep saying is he may not be. He's probably top 5 or 6 fastest in the league, but he has the fastest acceleration I've ever seen because within 2 or 3 strides he's full speed and you can't. He's gone. Nobody else has that acceleration that I've ever seen ever.
No, if we're talking pure speed, he's probably 3rd or 4th. I'd put A-Chain and Tyreek faster than him. And then if we're talking
the guy that probably he's probably faster at longer distance, but as far as what you want to do is get that separation within the first 5 to 10 yards, and it probably takes him 10 yards to get faster.
Dude, I would love to somehow it's obviously it's never going to happen because I'm never going to be in the NFL, but just to be a safety watching him fly past you, it has to look like you're standing on the highway and cars drive past you. Like it's like the craziest thing, dude. Like when he ran through the Giants,
he runs by.
Yeah, when he ran by the Giants secondary in overtime, bro, like he looked like a blip. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It was crazy. He is so fast.
Yeah, I'd love to.
If you're just joining us, drop your fantasy questions in the comments. We'll answer them. Last week until the playoffs, most people are in must wins. Drop your questions. A lot of questions to be answered. No Giants this week. No Giants this week.
No Giants.
I could be happy and have stress-free football.
But I'd love to be on the field with Jahmyr Gibbs or somebody running by me. And the Doppler effect, if you can hear them say deuces or whatever, you can hear the change in pitch as they go by you. But yeah, interesting.
I think I got a hot take for today. I think the Packers are going to humble the Bears very nicely today. Unfortunately, thankfully, I don't need Caleb this week in fantasy, but I think they're going to humble the Bears. I'm starting Tyrod in a couple of my leagues this week.
I have a Shuck. I'm starting Shuck because Dart's out, but I'm not
I have
sure.
him in my work league. You know how stupid my work league is? The guy who ran it forgot to put IR spots, so someone dropped Garrett Wilson, and I picked him up. So for those of you who brag about work leagues, they're the CFL of fantasy leagues.
George is taking advantage of people.
Yeah, that's my fault. There's no IR spots. So now I have Garrett Wilson coming back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't bring it up when you were looking at the waivers and stuff.
Maybe. I don't even think I mentioned it to anyone except
that
aren't in the league.
That's what I'm saying, George.
You know what we can do right now? So I told you about my DraftKings league that I have?
No.
So me and my father have this yearly DraftKings league. It's $1,250 to enter, and then it's $20 a week for the rest of the year, where you pretty much just draft the team every week, and it's most points. And there's most points in 1 week for the whole year wins $2,000 or something like that. First, second, third win money. Like last year, I came in third. I think I won $4 G's. It's fun. And I had a shit start. I went the first 6 weeks, 5 of them I had a player that got injured. So pretty much if you get a guy injured, you're pretty much screwed for that week. But I've been clawing back. And you want to help me fix that team? So this is what I got this week. Quarterback, we got Tyrod. RB1, we got Devon A-Chain. RB2, Quinshawn Judkins. Wide receiver 1, Cortland Sutton. Wide receiver 2, Adonai Mitchell. Wide receiver 3, Luther Burden. Tight end, Tyler Warren. Flex, Bucky Irving. Defense, Broncos. Now, I'm going to throw it on. I'm going to make a banner of it. Just throw it up. So if anyone jumps in, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see. I don't know what the format is. Are you able to like? Is it like one of those?
You get 50 grand to spend in each player. Yep.
So yeah, I'd have to know kind of what everyone was worth and if you're able to make changes or not.
If you have the DraftKings app, you can just open anyone up. They're all the same price.
Yeah, I haven't done one of those in a long time because back before they made gambling legal, but they were still doing the DraftKings and FanDuel and presenting it as a skill-based game. There was one weekend where I was like in the big money, and the game or like right before the game started at 1:00, I had made one change. Jack Doyle, I had him in.
Dude, that's a throwback. Jack Doyle.
And I took him out
baby.
for somebody else, and he had 3 touchdowns, and it cost me probably thousands of dollars that one change at the last second. And after that, I was like, I'm never doing this again.
So first place in this gets 12,000. Second place gets like 8,000, and third place gets 4,000. And I jumped from second place to third place because of Brock Bowers' garbage time TD last year, and I literally lost my mind.
Yeah, I can't do those anymore.
Awful. Freaking Aiden O'Connell throwing a bullshit touchdown against the Chargers when they were up 25.
That reminds me, I want to say like it must have been 4 or 5 years ago. Probably one of my worst beats ever because just of the situation. The Lions were like 0-10 or something like that, and the Vikings were like 4-7. And I did like 10 games that Sunday and got them all right. It was like $20 to win like $8,000. And the Lions scored last play of the game, last second of the game to upset the Vikings and go 1-10 or 1-11. And that cost me
I remember that game. I remember that game.
$8,000. Yeah. Terrible.
That was I think Hawkinson, right?
I can't remember who scored it. I was actually at work just checking on my phone to see the scores. I'm like, oh, thankfully it was like a 4:00 game. So I was like, cool, I probably would lose a little bit later on anyways. But then when I found out later on that I was like 9 for 10 and that was the only loss, and it was the fucking 0-11 Lions.
Oh my God. Maybe that's where your hatred of the Lions comes from.
Well, here's the thing. I was actually jumping on the Lions bandwagon that last year when they didn't make the playoffs, but they knocked the Packers out of it because the Packers were winning they were playing in Green Bay, and Jamal Williams cut that. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. That little post-game interview where he had just broke the like single season franchise record, and he's kind of crying. Like, I did this for my grandfather, and don't let these tears fool you. We all dogs. That shit, I get goosebumps thinking about it. But I was all Lions at that point.
Yeah.
And it was just Dan Campbell and the fans that kind of threw me off.
Speaking of Jamal Williams, I remember that exact year we went to Giants-Lions, and the Lions whooped the Giants' ass. And of course, that was the year the Giants made the playoffs, 2022. And Jamal Williams had 3 touchdowns against us.
Yeah.
And our good friend Brian, who probably will be on the pod in a few weeks, he's the mush of our group. We were sitting behind the field goal post, and he had the audacity to yell out, "Graham Gano, don't you know?" Missed the extra point. Does it again later in the game when they need a field goal for a 30-yarder. He yells at Graham Gano, don't you know? Misses it, and the whole section turned on him. And even us, as his friends, turned on him. We're like, "Go to the bathroom. Get out of here." And all the fans were like,
"Fuck you."
All the fans were like, "Get out of here."
Yeah, dude. Graham Gano, what a guy. He's just so...
He's got to have dirt on John Mara. Like, how does this guy have a job for that long? He was great for 1 year, and then every other year he was either injured or just mid.
Yeah, I mean, his stats could be deceiving, but when you need him the most, he does things like that. Every time.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. He'll go 5 for 5 on field goals in a game that means nothing.
Yeah.
And then if you need him to hit the extra point or a 40-yarder to tie to go to overtime, he'll miss it. Unless it's against the Giants.
What are your thoughts on that?
Your mic cut out. What'd you say?
Huh?
What'd you say? What are my thoughts on what?
I can't hear you anymore.
Hello?
Now I can, I think.
Hello. What were you saying? What are my thoughts on what?
About that missed that fucking chunk kick. Because he said that he saw the ball bobble, so that's why he kind of aborted.
Oh, you're talking about Young Ho?
Yeah, Young Ho, whatever.
So it's funny. People were saying that jumped the butt fumble as the most embarrassing New York sports highlight in years, but I'm like, I don't know. That butt fumble was national news for like 8 months straight. If you weren't like, it's still talked about today. That thing had to be retired as the number one of the not so top 10. That will never be topped. A guy turned around, ran into his own teammate's ass, fell down, dropped the ball, and the other team picked it up and ran it for a touchdown. That will never be topped. Never.
And there's still guys like Tim that are like, that's my team.
Yeah. But I will say one thing. If the play, you ever seen the Vikings play where the guy picked it off and went the wrong way and then threw it out of bounds? It happened in like the 70s. If that happened in like
that was Herm Edwards.
Yeah, if it was either the Vikings or Browns, but if that happened in today's era, that would probably be the number one forever.
Yeah, Herm Edwards ran the wrong way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Young Wei said that he saw the ball bobble, and that's why he like. But I still feel like, dude, I'm gonna kick it anyways.
I was excited for him too. Like, I just don't understand. I mean, thank God this season doesn't matter at this point anymore. But that shit, of course, that shit happens to the Giants. Why wouldn't it? It's like not like anything else can't go wrong. But I did get a glimpse of the receiver I want for the Giants to take in the draft next year. I'm very excited for that. Hopefully they do take it. Yeah, I'd like him on the Giants.
Yeah, people have been saying that. I mean, obviously I've been saying it. I think that's getting a wide receiver too would be the best thing for this team. Before I start looking at the defense, I want a wide receiver too, and I want the line. The Giants line has been playing fairly well given the circumstances.
They're 10th in the league. PFF has them 10th or 11th overall.
So they've been pretty solid. I'm still not completely comfortable with it. So I'd like to see some depth there, or maybe an upgrade at one spot, because I mean, a lot of it's Dart's fault because he starts running around as soon as anything happens. But just to protect Dart, make sure that the running game stays consistent once Scadabo's back and everything next year. So I look at wide receiver first, line, and then go defense. But I'd be fine with Cardinal Tate.
Yeah, I feel like he would be like adding T. Higgins and Chase to the Bengals. I feel like having two wide receiver ones really opens up an offense, and
absolutely
it'd be amazing.
Him and Neighbors would go. Him and 180 targets to Neighbors. You know.
Yeah, him and Neighbors would go crazy together. And then even Wandell is a very solid receiver. So them two taking up all the freaking attention would be so easy for Wandell.
Absolutely. And Wandell's the perfect kind of slot guy too. Yep. Before this year, if you looked at like all his receptions with Dable, it was all like screens, all screens. Mm-hmm, everything was a screen. This year was the first time they actually let him run some more down the field routes. But I'm a big fan of Wandell. I'm kind of curious to see what the contract situation is going to be, because they kind of have him as like a 15, 16, $18 million wide receiver. So hopefully he stays.
Wandell. I like Theo too. I'm happy he actually is somewhat coming into his own. He's got to work on his drops, but like that one pass to him in the end zone, he should have caught. Like a better tight end would catch that, but he's getting there. He went from one of the worst tight ends ever to serviceable this year. Like last year, he was just non-existent.
Well, I mean, the offense was trash last year too, but I mean, athletically, he's one of the, as far as size, speed, and 40 and vertical and stuff, he's one of the most athletically gifted players in the league. So just if he can get his hands and be more effective in the pass blocking and run blocking and stuff, he'd be like one of those top 3 or 4 tight ends in the league. I think just his gifts, like his athletic gifts are just next level.
Yeah, he was solid at Penn State. Yeah, I liked that pick when they originally did it. It was second or third round. I always forget. It was second round, right? They
I'm
took
not sure. I can't
Theo,
remember.
but I want to. I'm surprised you didn't ask why I'm rocking the Le'Veon Bell Steelers jersey today.
Oh, do they have meanings when you wear certain jerseys?
Sometimes. I mean, last time when I wore Jamar Chase was in honor of my pepper pick for the Bengals that won. The week before, I wore Randy Moss in honor of JJ McCarthy ruining another Hall of Fame receiver. And this week is Steelers are one of my two pepper picks this week against the Ravens. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So I've been having that conversation about Mike Tomlin. We've kind of talked about it, and I think Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are kind of why he doesn't have a lot of trust and offensive fucking players. It seems like the defense is always fine to really good, but offensively, like Arthur Smith, I don't know why they brought him back. He's a terrible offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then, he relies too heavily on these kind of past their prime vets. The bringing in Russell Wilson last year, Aaron Rodgers this year. Like he has Mike Tomlin's very loyal, and I feel like with certain players and people, he tries to see the good in them, kind of like me with the Giants. I don't want to see the bad things. But we've talked about having a fresh start would help him a lot. But I think Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are kind of like the main reasons why he has such weird kind of tendencies when it comes to making offensive decisions.
He's like Paul Heyman. He always says, "Don't let people see your negatives." Too bad that doesn't work in the NFL. You can't really hide your negatives as well.
Yeah,
it's not a scripted show, or maybe it is. Maybe it is scripted.
But to have the Steelers kind of held up their whole fucking offseason, waiting for Rodgers to make a decision. It's just like, oh my goodness, like he's not MVP Rodgers anymore.
So, we're 19 minutes away from week 14. I want to gravitate because I saw this on Twitter yesterday. Did you see who John Cena's final opponent is?
Gunther.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be great. So this final run for John Cena, I think it's better than people give it credit for. Obviously, to have him turn heel,
awful.
Didn't really work that well. But those promo, kind of battles he had with Cody and Punk were some of the best promos of his career. I loved the Punk. Well, the Punk match was okay, but the street fight match with Cody Rhodes was awesome. The match with AJ Styles was awesome. So I think Gunther and him, their styles are going to be great together because they can really do the heel, because the heel baby face thing really well. Because I know that Gunther is going to be, the heel that's going to kill everyone's hero on his way out.
Well, I just want to say that I think this was terrible, and only in fact, I don't mind it being Gunther. It's just the fact that instead of actually building a cool story, instead of all that stuff, they just did a scripted tournament that everyone knew Gunther was going to win. It's just they wasted our time for 2 months because it's very clear they're creatively bankrupt. How hard is it really to build a 2-month storyline into the fact that Gunther is killing everyone's childhood hero or something like that, that he's going to be the one to retire him, and you're done around here, you have only this amount of days left, like, I'm going to make sure you never come back, like stuff like that. Just build something. Give us intrigue. Don't, because now what? Everyone knew he was going to face him, but in storyline, they only know they're going to fight each other for like a week and a half. So the whole tournament is stupid. I think the tournaments in WWE are a stupid idea. A scripted tournament about people. Oh, let's figure out who's the best between each other. I think that's stupid when you take out the storyline aspect of wrestling. I don't know. I'm just old school like that. But that's my rant for the day. Scripted tournaments are stupid because at the end of the day, you know who's winning at the end. So what is my motivation to watch this? Why are these two guys fighting? Because they're fighting for a stupid tournament. Why can't there just be a storyline about Gunther fighting Cena or something like that? Are you really that lazy, triple fraud, to build a good storyline between Gunther and Cena? Is it really that hard? Vince did a great storyline with Ric Flair. Remember his retirement storyline?
Yeah.
where he came out and said
Next time you lose.
the next time you lose, you're going to retire. And it was like a 6-month thing. And then he forced him to fight his best friend at WrestleMania to retire him. Amazing. Shawn Michaels' year-long quest to fight the Undertaker again, to the point where he was destroying his own team with Triple H with DX, and then he cost him the title. And Undertaker's like, you know what? I'm done with your bullshit. Like, you can fight me, but you're retiring if you lose. And that's a great story. It's just, is it really that hard to write a good retirement story? I don't want to see a scripted tournament. That's
well. Here's what I think. Here's what I think happened. They really expected. They were really relying on the heel thing to work, and for the first couple of weeks, it did, because after he, kicked Cody in the nuts and Travis Scott slapped Cody Rhodes, people really liked that, and that was a good thing because we've been waiting for it for years to see him turn heel. Like I said, I thought his first couple promos as a heel were awesome, but when they realized it wasn't working and they kind of just scrapped it entirely in the middle and had him come out on a random SmackDown and say, I was wrong and I'm back to being a good guy again.
Yeah.
They realized that they left themselves with like no time to like salvage anything. So I 100% agree with you that they should have planned this out better, or at that
It's
moment
very
had
clear.
a better idea of what they wanted to do towards the end, instead of, like you said, just scrambling and throwing together a tournament. That's AEW in a nutshell. Everything's a tournament, 100 belts, everything's a tournament, and you just have to love wrestling. Like you have to just love in-ring wrestling and not care about the story at all to love a tournament. You know what I mean? Just like you said, like the stories are what make everything, makes you want to buy in and believe what's going to happen between these two guys that don't like each other or have some type of deeper meaning. But when it's just like, oh, hey, here's an opportunity to retire one of the greats, that's not a fucking story. That's
why do you think it was okay to do HBK and Triple H fighting for 2.5 years before 3.5 years before they got back together? Because it was an ongoing storyline that built interest.
Two friends.
Yeah, literally best friends. And it was perfect from the day Triple H betrayed him to the day Shawn came out in 2006 to save him. It was just that little stretch of them hating each other. It was just made it perfect.
What they should have done or could have done was like have John Cena kind of be like almost like a mentor that kind of wants to bring Gunther to the good side and make him a baby face. And you leave those little nuggets in places where, every time Gunther does something wrong, maybe John Cena's there to like try to convince him not to do those things, and then have Gunther turn on him later. That could have been better.
I love that. Like him, like being like, I could see you as the next big thing, this and that. And then but you gotta you gotta make the crowd love you, this and that, like I did. Like I was hated at first, and then just have anything's better than the tournament. That's all I'm saying. And that anything would build interest. Like Cena's trying to mentor him and turn him into the next big thing, but he's like, you know what? I don't need to be a good guy to be the top guy. And then he just turns on him and beats the fuck out of him. It's not.
Well, yeah. After Cena loses the belt, he could have been like, well, this is what happens when you do things the right way. So fuck you. I'm gonna keep doing things the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that creates itself. That's not a nuanced or unique story that happens all the time. The mentoree apprentice relationship. That was evolution, right? I mean, that's how it all works.
It's just so obvious. They're, again, I use this word again, they're creatively bankrupt. So I don't watch this show because I think it's the dumbest show in history, The Unreal. Have you watched that shit?
I watched like the first whatever set of episodes they put out, but I'm not going to watch it again because they even scripted that.
Yeah, and it's so obvious that I don't know why they want to pull back I think it's just Triple H just wants to kill it before he gets out of it forever. He's pulling back so much. It gets to a point, I love the documentaries where they talk about the stories and stuff, but I don't want to see two people that are supposed to be fighting backstage hugging and shit like that, especially when it happened. For example, if I see Brett and Shawn being friends backstage in 1995 and it's 2025, okay, fine, that was 30 years ago. But I don't want to see Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes hugging after their match that happened 6 months ago. That shit takes me out of it. It's to a point where it's okay, that was 30 years ago, whatever. We all know they're friends, but I don't want to see it 2 months after it just happened. That's killing the business.
Did you see or
What?
hear the new thing about what Bret Hart was saying about Shawn Michaels recently? Like,
Yes. Yes. It's funny because I went down the rabbit hole last night. The former wrestler David Otunga's YouTube channel came on my feed, and I watched his video on what John Cena was like in 2010. And my God, that guy. Apparently, there's like a story that Alex Riley signed an NDA on that
I've
John
heard
Cena
stuff
might
about
be the
that.
Diddy of WWE. Apparently, they're saying like if that ever gets out, the whole thing will come crashing down. And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, maybe
Yeah, I mean,
that's
that's
why they're
what.
so close to Vince.
Yeah, and John Cena's still saying he wishes Vince was there, but I'm not a big fan of Ryback, but I will watch some of his stuff when he's stirring the drama pot. And he's been saying that he's been
Mm-hmm.
insinuating for years that when the Alex Riley stuff comes out, people are going to think a lot differently of John Cena. And
Mm-hmm.
all he'll say was, they would be drinking in his tour bus, and when Riley said he didn't want to do that anymore, that's when everything changed.
Yeah. There was another. I didn't know who it was because I didn't recognize him, but he said he's like, yeah, I heard a story and I think it might be true. And if that shit ever got out, oh man.
But yeah, I mean, no one holds a grudge like Bret Hart, right?
Oh my God, yeah. He's funny though.
That's funny. Yeah, he's funny.
But he's allowed to because he was so great, and people shit talk him so much, like especially modern fans that didn't understand how great he was. And it is true. Go watch any of his matches from the 90s, and that shit looked real because of how great he was. He made it look real. He was that's another thing. He said that no one knows how to throw a punch today. It's like actually so true. All the punches today look so fake. And I'll go watch one of his matches from like WrestleMania 10, and it looked like he fucking wailed the guy in the face when he didn't even touch him. It's just like
Simple
little
stuff
stuff like that takes you out of the match.
Yeah, I mean, all the best wrestlers now, especially kind of like the guys in their late 30s, early 40s, they all credit Brett as being like their inspiration for
Mm-hmm.
like, the style that they wanted to um, portray or imitate. And that's why those guys last longer. CM Punk loves Bret Hart and always gives him all the credit. And
Mm-hmm.
he's in his mid to late 40s. He can still go. All these guys that watch Brett growing up and idolize Brett are the guys that can keep doing this for longer periods of time. Where you look at guys in AEW like Kenny Omega and the Bucks and Okada and the Japanese style. All those guys are done by like 35 because they've they've killed themselves
Yeah.
doing these
And if you're
nonsensical.
just joining us, we're 8 minutes till week 14. Drop your fantasy football start sits in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe to Valley Sports Pod and at Jive Sports Pod. But
Jive. Yeah. So real quick, just want to run through the games real quick, unless we get some questions. I think the first game I saw was. Let me get out of that. Saints, and no. Okay, let's start with Titans, Browns. Browns -4.5.
I think the Browns take this solely just because of their defense. I think Myles Garrett's going to eat Cam Ward alive.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, they just have a great defense, which is funny because after some of the Shador kind of trolling I've done, there was a guy that I was talking to quite a bit in my YouTube comments who was, calling me a hater and stuff. And I was like, as soon as something goes wrong, he's going to blame receivers and coaching and stuff. And he was like, well, the defense after the 49ers game, the defense sucks. I'm like, you got to be friggin' kidding me, dude.
The defense sucks. The defense held the Niners to under 30, and they were on the field like every 15 seconds. The defense
But
sucks.
but when the defense gets 10 sacks against the Raiders and Shador hits a 66-yard screen, then it was all Shador, not the 10 sacks. Minnesota, Washington. What do you think about that? -1.5 Minnesota.
Dude, I wish I jumped on the Washington spread because I think it was at like 6 before Jaden Daniels announced he was back. But I think Washington should win with Daniels because it's just 9. 9 ain't winning shit. I don't care how bad the Washington defense is. But I will do my victory laps. I'm going to do it every week. I don't care. I said from day one, the day one we started this podcast, my hot take of the year is that the Commanders will regress and not be good. And everyone called me crazy. And I said, your little Cinderella story last year was way too fake. And lo and behold, they stunk this year because they were not as good as everyone thought they were. That's my rant for today.
And in our very first episode, NFC predictions, I've been saying that Jaden Daniels is too thin, and injuries are going to be a problem for him. And of course, he's always injured. He had the rib problem last year, played through some of it. This year, he had like the hamstring or whatever. Comes back, breaks his arm. He needs to put on some weight.
Did you see
Saints?
the meme that he gets tackled by like a Looney Tunes character?
No,
Yeah, it's
but he's
funny.
just thin.
Yeah.
Saints Bucks -7.5 Bucks.
Must. I'm gonna say it must win for the Bucks. Get your shit together. That's all I'm gonna say. If you lose to the Saints, you don't deserve to be anywhere near the playoff, and Todd Bowles should be fired. End of story.
I'm gonna take Bucks, but I wouldn't touch that spread because
Yeah.
divisional games are weird. Seahawks at Falcons. Seahawks -7.
Now, Seahawks should win this game easily.
Yeah.
Hoping somewhat it's close so JSN can get back on track for that 2000 because last week was not nice considering how pathetic the offense was for the Vikings. It made it too easy for the Seahawks. Raheem Morris, your days are numbered. Me and my brother yesterday were going off about how very shit of a coach he was. He is under the radar. He's Raheem, look up at the scoreboard Morris. That's all he does. He thinks the answer's on the Jumbotron every time something bad happens. And get ready to go on the unemployment line because your days are numbered, brother.
Yeah, he just needs to be a defensive coordinator. I think he excels at that, but as a head coach, he's not it.
If the Falcons use Bijan like the Niners used McCaffrey, I'm telling you right now they would be leading this division, and that's not a hot take.
I took them to win the division because I thought that they would do shit like that. So that was one of my terrible takes. Was I didn't think the Bucks would be very good. With the
one game the offense ran through him. He went for 200 against the Bills on Monday night, and they whooped their ass.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, crazy.
So I'm taking Seahawks easily. Bengals at Buffalo, -6 Buffalo.
Upset alert. I think the Bengals will upset the Buffalo Bills today.
I agree, actually.
Apparently there's snow in Buffalo. So we might get our first snow game of the year.
When you have Joe Burrow in a must-win situation, because they basically got to win out to have a chance and hope some other things fall their way. Yeah, I'm taking Bengals because Joe Burrow. The Bills are very hot and cold this year, very underwhelming. Not who we all thought they would be.
Yeah, and I had Bills fans shit talking us, but I called them frauds for a reason.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I think you already talked about this a little bit earlier.
I think it's going to be close, and I mentioned that this is the first time in history between these two teams that the other teams are rooting for the opposing teams because they both want their coaches fired, so they're rooting to lose this game. And I think I could see the Ravens winning in a close game, and Steelers will cover.
Yeah, I saw like a post on Facebook that was like Lions fans when they realize they have to root for the Packers the next 3 weeks because they need the Bears to fall off.
Yeah,
this is a weird one. I'm actually going to take Baltimore because I think they're. Did you say you're taking Baltimore?
Yes, in a close
game. I'm taking Baltimore because their defense has been a lot better. It's been carrying them through the stretch of winning, and I can't, for the life of me, wrap my head around the idea that Lamar is going to be mid for the rest of the year. I think he's been dealing with that hamstring injury. I feel kind of bad because for a while, like after when that game happened against KC and he went out, I thought there's a little bit of kind of like poo-pooing it a little bit that maybe he wasn't as hurt as he claimed, but
no,
it was just kind of like
dude, he looks slow. It's very concerning.
Yeah, he's been dealing with it, and he missed 3 games, and since he's been back, he's been kind of not who we are used to seeing. But I'm going to take Baltimore at Baltimore. Colts at Jags. Colts -2.5. You touched on that too.
Jags take this one, and the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville in 10 years, and they're on the skid. And Colts fans, I'm very sorry, but you guys are in big trouble. Big trouble. Unless you somehow fall into a franchise quarterback somehow, you are going to waste this roster. You're going to waste this coach because you just dumped 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, who might be out for a little bit.
I'm conflicted here because I took the Jags to win the division, so I want them to win. But Trevor Lawrence annoys the hell out of me, man.
Dude,
He's just
he
not
is the
it.
most he's the I don't even know what the word is. He's the biggest villain in Jacksonville is what I'm going to say, cuz it seems like everyone else on the team wants to win except for him. He does everything in their power to make them lose. Like he even fell down on Monday Night Football to lose the game against the Chiefs and still got up and got in somehow. He was like, "Oh man, how have I not been touched by now?" I know it's a joke, but you get the point. I think Trevor Lawrence is their kryptonite because
I
ETN's great and their defense is great. And I made fun of the coach, but he's shown he can build structure and he's built a great, tough defense. They're very underrated, this defense.
Yeah, I mean, he flipped that running game around. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, were kind of out on Etienne as a running back,
Mm-hmm.
and he's resurrected him, made him look great. He made Bucky and Rashad and Sean Turner look great in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm conflicted. I've had to eat humble pie on Trevor because I was kind of like one of the last holdouts, thinking that he could be something. I think because man, I don't know. I guess 'cause I'm tossing it up in the air, and I want the Jags to win, so I'm just gonna take Jags. So whatever. My game's just shuffled, so I don't know who.
1 o'clock just started. That's why.
Oh yeah, okay. So Miami at Jets. Who cares?
Timmy took the Jets for the pepper pick, so I'm hoping Miami.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami. Broncos at Raiders. Raiders
Broncos.
minus 8.5. Broncos for sure. Nothing really to talk about Raiders
Broncos.
wise.
Broncos are just en route to that 1 seed, just locking it up. That's all it
And
is.
you
Just keep
you
winning.
said earlier that you're pretty confident in Green Bay over Bears.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is going to give them a nice humble pie. I think the Bears have been very overrated, and they haven't. I don't know. I just don't like that Caleb is not playing up to par, and they're still winning, and that's a very bad formula. Caleb needs to learn how to set his feet and throw the ball. His accuracy has been horrible. He's missing a lot of easy throws, and they're I don't know. But
He just needs to.
I did say that next year they're going to be forced to be reckoned with because they're still in that they're ahead of schedule. I love what Ben Johnson's done there, but I feel like Caleb has got to really just stop being Russell Westbrook is what I compare him to.
He just needs to understand that not every ball has to be a fastball and put a little touch on it sometimes because I feel like
That
everything
too.
that he does miss is 80 miles per hour and over receivers' heads. But I'm going to take the Bears. Rams at Cardinals, not much to talk about there.
Yeah.
Rams
Rams.
minus 9.5. They'll probably cover that and then some.
Yeah, bounce back from last week's horrible game. Stafford's going to throw for 5 touchdowns. Move on.
Texans, Chiefs. Chiefs are minus 3.5.
I want the Texans, but I don't think the NFL will allow the Chiefs to lose this game. That's all I'm going to say. The NFL will not allow the Chiefs to lose this game on Sunday Night Football. As much as I want the Texans to put the Chiefs to sleep for good of the 25 season, Texans are not winning tonight as much as Roger Goodell has to say about it.
I'm not the biggest Texans guy. This would shut me up though because I've part of my criticism towards the Texans is that their defense has been really good against some pretty crummy offenses. You know, when they played the Ravens, it was without Lamar. Earlier in the season, they lost some close games where they kept the Rams kind of low. I think it was 14-9. So they've done some good against some good teams, but I feel like a lot of their success has come against bad teams, offensively bad teams. I'm going to take the Chiefs, but if they beat the Chiefs, then I'll shut up and I'll give them the respect that they deserve if they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got
Yeah.
Philly at LA.
I got Chargers. Chargers are my other pepper pick. I think Philly is on the downward spiral, and that Easter Bunny just really cemented it. That's all I have to say. Chargers getting their running back. I'm pretty sure Jordan Davis isn't not Jordan. What's his name? Jalen Carter isn't playing, which would be horrible for them. Their run defense is already volatile, and I think Chargers win at home on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean Philly gave up almost 300 to the Bears. Like both running
Mm-hmm.
backs had like 125 plus. Um, Unfortunately, I think I have to take the Eagles, and I hate doing that, but That's how I feel about it.
Why?
Huh?
Why? Really quick before we go off.
Why? Because they just still have a really good roster. The Chargers still pretty banged up. Even if Omari on Hampton comes back, their line's banged up.
Yeah, no, Joe Alt is
They
very
haven't
concerning.
looked at that first quarter of the season. They looked unstoppable, and lately since then they've kind of struggled. I mean, after the Jags beat their ass a couple weeks ago, I was like, something's going on there. Because the Jags beat them like 35 to whatever it was, 6 or 10 or something.
You're missing a freaking all-pro lineman. That's just what it is. And a left tackle is so important. Without Joe Alt, their offense is inept.
So the Eagles' defense, with or without Jalen Carter, is still just stacked. Their offense is stacked. They just have chemistry and internal issues. And I think when the season, when you're worried about the Cowboys kind of jumping you or whatever, and you just got to make something happen. I think they will. So I'm taking the Eagles, even though I hate the Eagles.
We'll see, because if you ask any Philly fan, you would think the sky is falling down and the world's ending.
They're miserable. They love being
last
miserable.
year. It's the most pathetic fan base in all of sports, and
they're
I'm
never
tired
happy.
Of it. But that's why we watch the game. This is George from ValleySportsPod.
The game.
Literally. Thank you, Zach, for coming on. That was fun. Episode 19 will be out this week. Our new top 5 series will debut this week. Top 5 draft busts since 2010. 189 dive. That's a wrap. Until next time, there will be that next time. This is George from ValleySportsPod and Zach from Jive Sports. Out. See you later, Zach.
Cheers.
Anytime.